Yes po.
Okay. So I'm going to share the screen now. Um, and then let's begin with our lesson on general and inorganic chemistry. Yeah. Oh, lagot. Wait lang. Please bear with me. I'm actually learning how to navigate through this. So please bear with me. One moment lang po. Okay, so yeah. Let me see. I hope you can hear me. Can somebody please say if you can hear me? Oh, yeah. All right. Good, good. Okay, so you don't need to see me, yeah? I hope you don't mind if you cannot see me right now. I'm actually, uh, wait a moment. All right. So I'm actually trying to figure out how I can increase the size of the screen. So um how do I slideshow? Mm. Okay, so anyways, habang I'm trying to figure it out, okay, so I hope you can read the screen. And obviously, our topic for this evening is chemistry. And I will be your mentor for this evening. I am Melanie. And um, ano ba? I am a licensed chemical engineer. I have been teaching chemistry for quite a while. A while meaning a number of years. Ayan. Okay. For students in engineering and architecture and allied medical courses plus criminology. Ayan, isama na natin sila. Okay, and yeah. So give me one moment, please. I am trying to. Uh, one moment. Okay. Okay, ayan. So, um, okay. So let's begin with our lecture. So we have, ayan, I hope that you can see that now. Okay, so we will be talking about atoms and matter, everything about matter, and the things that matter undergoes. Okay, chemical bonds, conservation of matter, and stoichiometry. Periodic table, of course, your favorite elements. Yan. And then phases of matter, acids and bases, solutions and mixtures, chemical thermodynamics, and chemical kinetics. Okay, so let's begin with our vocabulary terms. Okay, so first and foremost, let's talk about chemistry. So sabi nga natin, what is chemistry about? So importante is that it is the study of matter. It's actually used, okay, to describe matter and everything about matter, which includes the properties and the changes it undergoes and the energy changes that accompany those processes. Okay, so ano to? Kasama yung ano itsura, okay? ano yung mga elements, okay? And then, ano yung mga changes na that matter undergoes. Then, of course, may mga energy changes ba in terms of enthalpy, entropy, etc., something like that. And then, of course, other processes. Processes like, if you remember, physical processes like evaporation, condensation, and the like. Right? Okay, and then of course, alam na alam natin to, gasgas na tayo dito with the definition of matter, which we said that it is anything that has mass and occupies space. So paulit-ulit, no? It's anything that has mass and occupies space. So that's basically, talaga naman yan ang basic na definition of matter. So, usually, anong tinatanong ko dito that might be hindi sure, no? Ang mga estudyante is like air. Can you consider air as matter? Of course, air matters. Okay, but air is, of course, matter because it has what? It occupies space. How do we show this in classroom? In a classroom, for example, no? So, what we usually do is, kasi hindi naman natin nakikita ang air, pero alam natin nandyan siya. Pero how do we know or how do we show that it does occupy space? Because every time we move from one place to the other, the air
Hello
originally
po,
to your right,
nag-start
for
na po sa
example,
kabila. Labas na kayo
moves
dito.
to the space that you
Nag-start
have
na po.
vacated if you move towards that direction. So, ang madalas or kadalasan na experiment na pinapakita dito is yung pagpuno ng balloon. Diba? Ayan, yung pagpuno ng balloon. So you notice, syempre, walang laman yung balloon, tapos when you blow air into it, di ba? Then, nakikita mo, lumolobo yung lobo. Ayan, okay. So, it shows that, ayun, meron ngang, nag-occupy nga siya ng space. At hindi lang yon. O, syempre, pag winay mo, energy. Alright, now, we have some fundamental laws of matter that we would have to discuss. So, syempre, sinabing fundamental laws, so pinaka-basic dito, umiikot ang mga bagay-bagay, no? What changes that matter undergoes, okay? Or what affects matter, goes around pag winay mo pa, okay, kasi sabihin natin, oh, wala namang weight or wala namang mass ang air. Meron naman siya. Okay? So you can actually measure the mass of gases. Okay? So yun lang naman sa gases lang usually, no,
There, can you hear me now?
Light. Yan.
Hello?
So sometimes
Good
I ask my
evening.
students, ayan. Okay na po ba? Naririnig na ako? That is what. Okay, so from 2 to how many billions? Okay, to how many billion na population? Okay, so doon pa lang sa data na yun, makikita natin na, oh, ano kaya nangyari sa mass ng Earth? Since dumami na ang tao, bumigat kaya siya. Okay. Another example is mga building. Siyempre, nung time na yon, nung unang panahon, wala po pang mga high-rise, no? Yung mga hundreds of stories or mga skyscrapers, if you would want to call them that. Okay, so, but now, ang naglalakihan ang mga building. So, ibig ba sabihin, bumigat ang Earth? Kasi nandito lang naman lahat sa Earth. Okay? So, guys, what do you think? But I hope your answer is hindi po. Hindi bumigat ang Earth. Dumami man ang population, dumami man ang mga buildings, hindi siya bumigat. Why? Because the mass in Earth has been conserved. So, saan po galing yung mass ko? Yung mass mo? Yung mass ng mga building? It has to come from the mass of other matter around us. Okay po, no? So, mass can neither be created nor destroyed, but it can only be transformed, okay, from one form to another. Okay po, no? So, ganun yun. So, ulitin ko, no? The mass is conserved, so you cannot create it, okay? You cannot destroy it. So, what happens? Nako-convert lang siya. Nagtra-transform lang siya from one matter to another. Right po? Okay. Next law, we have the law of constant or definite composition. Okay. So, this is very basic. So, the scientists who have done studies in chemistry, or let's just say basically science, no, were able to find out that a specific compound, okay, is made by a specific or a definite composition. Yun nga po yun, yung parang may ratio na definite siya. Let's take, for example, water. Okay, we all know the chemical formula for water. And of course, you remember it to be H2O. Alright, so what does H2O stand for? H2O stands for two hydrogen atoms reacting with every one oxygen atom. Okay, so how do we apply the law of constant or definite composition? Okay, so if, for example, you find a colorless liquid, but you don't know if that's water, and you try to test it, okay, and you find out that the composition or the chemical formula is H2O, then definitely you know that that is water. There can never be any other compound, okay, that can be found to have the same formula at as that specific compound as H. Brings us to the third law, okay, which is the law of multiple proportions. Okay, under the law of multiple proportions, just shows us that some elements combine in specific or multiple proportions to form different compounds. So, example, doon na lang ulit tayo kay hydrogen and oxygen. Okay, when we combine hydrogen and oxygen, we are definitely sure that we are going to form H2O. However, okay, now what if the proportion or the subscripts changes? Does that mean that you have formed a different compound? Yes. Okay, that brings us to the third law. Okay, which is the law of multiple proportions. Okay, under the law of multiple proportions, just shows us that some elements combine in specific or multiple proportions to form different compounds. So, example, doon na lang ulit tayo kay hydrogen and oxygen. Okay, when we combine hydrogen and oxygen, we are definitely sure that we are going to form H2O. However, if you are familiar with what we call the agua oxinada or the hydrogen peroxide, it has a very, very similar formula with water, which is H2O2. Okay, so look at that. Both compounds, H2O and H2O2, are made of the same elements, hydrogen and oxygen, but in different proportions. Okay? Mm, and so many other examples. But I think I just chose those examples because yun ang alam ko na medyo mas familiar kayo. Okay? So yung agua oxinada, look at the difference, no? Ang nagkaiba lang is the subscript from H2O naging H2O2. Yung H2O pwedeng inumin. Yung H2O2, oh my. Pag ininom mo yan, hindi ko alam kung ano mangyayari sa'yo. Okay? Kasi ang H2O, pwede rin naman panlinis ng sugat. Pero, hindi po siya bumubula. Okay? Hindi siya ng disinfect. Okay? Yung hydrogen peroxide, pinalilinis yan ng sugat na hindi disinfect. Okay? Pinapatay niya yung germs na nandun sa surface. And then, of course, ang H2O, pwedeng i-take internal. Ang H2O2, external lang. Topical lang siya. Okay? How about the color? Pareho sila. Colorless. Okay, ano pa? How about yung amoy? Ayun lang. Siyempre, no? Ang tubig, wala dapat amoy yun. Pag may amoy, hindi yan tubig. Okay, ingat kayo dyan. Okay, ang hydrogen peroxide, siyempre, meron siyang distinct na smell. Okay, maaamoy mo yung peroxide niya. Okay? Ayan. Yan po yung tatlong laws, no? The three fundamental laws of matter. So the first one we said is the law of conservation of mass. Mass can neither be created nor destroyed. It can only be converted from one matter to another. Okay? So next, we have the law of constant or definite composition, that a compound or a substance is made of a definite composition of elements in a specific ratio. Okay, and multiple proportions that there are two elements can combine in multiple or different proportions to form different compounds. Right? Anton Lavoisier, okay, is the that is, let's say, the proponent or the father of, or he proposed the law of conservation of mass. So, ayan po, no? So, here, example, sa experiment po sa laboratory, for example, ito po yung makikita nyo. If it was an isolated system. So, what do I mean by isolated system? Meaning, nagsunog ka ng coal, pero naka-isolate siya, nakatrap siya, in such a way that walang mag-escape na gas, walang mag-escape na water vapor. Because if you know, coal, of course, is an organic substance, and when you burn an organic substance, definitely you could produce what? Carbon dioxide, H2O, water vapor, you know? Okay, and then you have carbon dioxide. And of course, kung may ash pa natira, o di may carbon, may 1. Diba? Right? So, kung makikita niyo yung ating scale, no? From 100 grams bago siya sunugin, naging, ano siya, after masunod, naging 100 grams pa rin. Ano lang naman ang nagbago? Nagbago yung size ng particle. Bakit? Kasi nga, yung iba dyan sa coal mo ay naging carbon dioxide, which is the gas inside that isolated system. And of course, some of them has turned into water vapor. Okay. Joseph Krauss, okay. Siya naman ang pasimuno on the law of definite composition. So, given compound, ayan po, yung explanation ko kanina, and of course, in the law of multiple proportions. Basta kung paano mag-combine ang elements to form compounds. Krauss po yan. KMT, the kinetic molecular theory, and of course, in the law of multiple proportions. Basta kung paano mag-combine ang elements to form compounds. Browse po yan. KMT, the kinetic molecular theory. Okay, so, you guys remember that sa lahat ng bagay, kahit yung inuupuan mo ngayon, okay, or yung cellphone mo, kala mo lang intact lahat yung particles niyan. Oo, very intact sila dahil napakalakas po ng attraction, intermolecular attraction ng particles. However, yung mga particles niyan are constantly moving. Okay, so meron kasing kinetic molecular energy yung mga particles niyan. Okay, and this is given by what we call the kinetic molecular theory, that tiny, constantly moving particles make up all matter. Okay, moving, yes. Okay, just that for solid substances, they are not moving as rapid as gaseous particles are. Okay? So, pag solid kasi, napakalakas po. Dahil sabi ko, no, yung intermolecular energy. Kaya ang nangyayari is, sobrang attraction nila sa isa't isa. Nag-move sila, pero together. Ayun, nagva-vibrate sila. Ayan. Parang, para sa giniginaw sa magkakadikit-dikit sila. Ganyan. So, nagva-vibrate lang sila. Ganun. Pero pag gases, naku, itong mga hyper. Okay, sila talaga yung kung nasa loob sila ng lobo, for example, they would, like, rapidly move from one end of the balloon to the other, constantly moving, bumping onto each other, trying to get away as far as possible from the other particles. Yan, so that is the kinetic molecular theory. Okay, now, yan, kinetic energy, syempre, pag sinabing kinetic, tatandaan nyo, may motion, may movement. Okay, yung kabaligtaran nito, ito po yung potential. Kung naaalala nyo, no, potential, wala po. Potential lang. Okay, di ba? Walang movement according to, by virtue of its position yun. Pero pag kinetic, may motion. Okay, now, tatandaan nyo, normally, in most cases, but not all, okay, but not all, okay, the kinetic energy inside a specific substance increases as the temperature increases. Bakit ganun? So, going back to dun sa sinasabi ko na nag-move, no? Okay. Yung particles ng solid, sabi natin, di ba, compact sila. Very close sila sa isa't isa. Ang lakas ng attraction nila sa isa't isa. So, kaya lang, pagka mainit, di ba? Okay, pagka mainit, they would tend to what? To move away from each other. They would loosen up. Ayan po, no? So, eventually, increasing their kinetic energy. Ayan. So, from solid, nagiging sila, liquid. So, kung i-compare nyo yung kinetic energy ng solid at liquid, syempre, mas malaki yung kinetic energy ng liquid. Yan, no? So itong energy na to increases as the temperature increases. As the matter or the substance goes through phase changes, so as the kinetic energy in them. Alright? So, ayan po. Now, of course, I'm sure that you know that there are 5 states of matter. But for this discussion, we're going to discuss the 4 states of matter. Okay, so very quickly, let's try to go over each one of them. Solids. For solids, they have low kinetic energy, which just allows the particles to vibrate. Okay. So, pag sinabing vibrate, hindi po sila nag-move around. Ayan, di ba? Like I said earlier. And then, of course, paulit-ulit po, gasgas na ito. Definite shape and volume. Ano po bang ibig sabihin nito? I hope you do really understand this. You know, like, if you're looking at your cell phone, you put it inside your bag, you put it in a bottle, or you put it, you know, like anywhere. The shape does not change. Okay? It's definite. It's always like that. Okay? So, that is what we mean by the shape being definite. How about the volume? Also, guys, kahit na i-compress mo yung cellphone mo, okay, magkakaroon ng super insignificant value na change in volume if any. Okay? Ibig sabihin, kung kinompress mo siya, pinitpit mo siya, tapos siniksik mo sa isang container hanggang sa lumiit na lumiit. Okay, tapos i-measure mo yung volume niya, pareho pa rin doon sa volume niya nung una. Hindi mo yan mako-compress actually. Okay? So, pag na-occupy na yung space na maximum na kaya niya ma-occupy, yun na yun. Okay? Kasi, it has definite volume also. Okay? So, yun yung solid natin. Alright, next. They are crystalline.
Kaysa sa mahulog sa slide.
So, pag sinabi natin crystal, okay, they have repeating geometric pattern. Okay, napakaganda po ng solids kasi pati yung pagkakadesign ng kanilang particles, geometric. Saan natin ito nakikita? Actually, sa asukal. Ayan, no? So, sugar, if you try to look close into the sugar particle, you will see na meron nga siyang geometric pattern na nakaka-cubes talaga siya na maliliit, na magkadikit-dikit sila. Okay, so that is what we mean by crystalline. Okay po. So, pag may geometric pattern, that is crystalline. And take note, repeating. Hindi lang minsan. So, makikita mo, cubic talaga na ang liliit na magkakatabi. Dikit-dikit sila. Yan. Okay? Then, of course, ito naman yung isa. Pwede naman pong maging amorphous. Ito yung sinasabing wala pong pattern. Okay. Very classical example is the glass. Okay. Yung glass naman kasi, di ba, is made by melting. Tama? Silica. Okay? So, pag na-melt na, no, ang nangyayari is, syempre, wala na siyang, hindi na siya crystal. Okay? Hindi na siya crystalline. So, wala na siyang repeating geometric pattern. Ayan. Right? Next one, we have the liquids. Okay, so for liquids, ano kaya sa tingin nyo compared to the kinetic energy of a solid? Syempre, medyo mas mataas ang kinetic energy niya. Okay, the particles can move around but are still close together, sorry. What do you mean by close together? Dikit-dikit pa rin sila, magkakatabi. Hindi pwedeng nakalutang yung ibang liquid particles doon sa container. Guess nyo po? Okay, yun ang ibig niya sabihin. Pero nakakamove ba sila? Oo, kaya nga pansinin nyo, yung liquid sa container ay pwede nag-flow siya. Okay, nag-flow. Yan. Alright. So, higher ang kinetic energy nila. And of course, alam naman natin na indefinite ang shape kasi it follows the shape of its container. Okay? Kaya yung iba sa atin gusto liquid na lang sana tayo para at least, diba, kung gusto mong Coca-Cola shape ka, o di Coca-Cola shape, ang bilis-bilis lang mag-change ng shape. But you're not. You're solid. So you have a definite shape. Unless mag-jetta ka. Ayan. Kailangan mong i-burn yung mga fats na yan. Para mag-change ka ng shape. Alright? Okay? So the definite volume din po ang liquids. Ibig sabihin ng definite volume, kung 1 liter, yung Coke na binili mo, ilipat mo sa napakalaking pitcher. Okay? Eh, hindi po niya pupunuin yung pitcher. Hanggang lang dun siya sa mababang part, hanggang sa 1 liter lang na kaya niyang i-fill. Okay? Ayan. So again, your liquids have what? Indefinite shape because they flow. That's why they are called fluids. Okay? Magkasama sila ni gas kasi they flow. They are not rigid substances. Right? And of course, the third one, we have gases. So of the three, ano kaya ang kinetic energy nito? Malamang high kinetic energy also. Okay? And the particles of gases are separate and they can move throughout the container. Anong ibig natin sabihin dito? So going back to the balloon I was talking about earlier when I was telling you that air does occupy space. Okay? So going back to that, you imagine the gas particles in that balloon to be moving constantly from one part of the balloon to the other, constantly without stop. Okay. So meron bang part nung balon na walang laman na gas? Wala po. Puno yun. Okay. It's the same example that we have like jokingly though. On a funny perspective, okay? Na for example, nandun kayo sa elevator, tapos may umutot. Ang hirap po, hindi mo kasi pwedeng i-contain yung utot doon sa puwet mo, doon sa lawal mo, no? Kasi gas yun. So since gas yun, ano mangyayari? Di ba? Mag-escape siya doon sa kung saan mo man siya galing, okay? And then it will fill the whole elevator. So, hindi natin siya pwedeng i-contain doon. As compared to, kung poop, for example yun. Oh, kakalat ba yung poop? Hindi. Magsisting lang siya dun sa salawal. Okay? Paano kung liquid? Oh, it's the same. Hindi naman niya i-fill up yung buong elevator. Yun po yung very classical example of this one. Okay, no? So, but for gases, definitely it will have to fill every corner. Okay? Pupunuin niya yung container. Okay po. Now, in terms of shape and volume, definitely, wala po siyang definite shape and volume. Okay? Kung ano po yung volume ng container, yun po ang volume niya. So, kung pagsisiksikan mo siya sa napakaliit na container, pwede maliit din naman ang volume niya. Pero kung ililipat mo, yun nandun sa maliit na container, magbubuksan mo siya sa buong room. Ayan. Di pupunuin niya yung room. Ganun po ang gas. Na? And sa shape naman, syempre, depende sa kung anong shape ng container niya. And of course, the fourth one is your plasma. Plasma is a state which has very high kinetic energy. Actually, sa sobrang taas ng kinetic energy hanggang sa, nagkaroon na sila ng charges. Ayun, okay? So, syempre, ang plasma also does not exist in normal conditions, no? You have to create this condition at very high temperature. Okay po, no? So, kung titingnan natin yung level ng states natin from very low kinetic energy, you have your solids, and then higher kinetic energy. We have your liquids, and then even more high kinetic energy, we have your gases, and then very high kinetic energy, you have your plasma, right? Then, of course, ano ba ang plasma? Yan nga, it's gas-like. So, para siyang gas, syempre, indefinite shape and volume din siya. So, depende ulit sa kanyang container. Okay, yan po ang example, a picture of an example of a material or matter that can be classified as plasma. Yan. Okay, so we have our phase changes. So, tingnan natin what happens, no? Paano ba yung phase changes natin and the processes that we call them as matter changes from one state to the other. Alright, so of course we have the first arrow here. It shows the increasing in enthalpy. In layman's term, habang nag-i-increase ang temperature. Okay, ano bang nangyayari sa material? Okay, so let's start from the solid, of course. If you increase the enthalpy of the solid material or simply just increasing the temperature, right? Ano mangyayari? Mula sa solid, magiging liquid siya. Tama po ba? So, there is a phase change, right? So, it will become a liquid. Now, from solid to liquid, okay, take note that we don't have change in temperature. Wala pong change in temperature. Okay, kaya ang gagamitin mo dito is what you will encounter later as what we call your latent heat. Okay, latent heat of what? Okay, latent heat of so ngayon, from solid to liquid lang phase change lang po tayo. Okay, wala po tayong change in temperature. So, ang mangyayari ay, mag-absorb siya ng heat para yung solid mo magiging liquid. Okay, so may heat bang na kailangan dyan? Meron po.
Kulang kapalit ng phase.
Okay, and then, ang tawag natin dyan ay ano? So, syempre, alam niyo yan, di ba? Yung butter natutunaw o yung ice natutunaw, ang tawag natin dyan, melting. Right? And syempre, paano naman kung yung liquid ay pabalikin natin maging solid? So, syempre, alam niyo na po ito. Okay? O, siguro mamaya na natin pag-usap. Ay, sorry po. Sorry. Ayan. Ay, ayan po. Freezing, syempre, no? Ayan, no? So, when you take away the heat, okay, or you decrease the heat, okay, in a liquid setup of your material, it can freeze and then change into the solid state. And then further on, from liquid, if we keep increasing the temperature or the heat, no? So, ang nangyayari ay the liquid, ano ba? Gets to have a higher kinetic energy. So, if you remember yung kinetic energy na sinabi natin kanina, so as the temperature increases, the kinetic energy increases, thus, phase changes as well. So, from liquid, it becomes gas, and liquid to gas, we call this what? Evaporation. And of course, from gas to liquid, if we decrease the temperature of, or enthalpy, it is called condensation. Alright. Then further on, moving from gas to plasma, which in this diagram would be the last one, okay? So we have, okay, our plasma. From gas to plasma, once the temperature of your gaseous substances are increased, so we get to have charges. The particles break apart, so they don't stay as a molecule, but instead they become ions. Okay, and what do we call this process na nagiging ions sila? O, syempre, ang tawag dyan, ionization. And of course, so from plasma, pag bumaba na yung enthalpy na hindi na nila ma-maintain na maging ions pa sila, sila ay magre-reunite. Ang tawag dyan ay recombination. Okay. So, yun lang po. Pero meron pa po tayo. May mga shortcut po tayo. Isa lang po ang may shortcut dyan. Ano yung may shortcut dyan? Kasi hindi lahat ng solid kailangan dumaan sa pagka-liquid para maging gas. Okay, may mga substances tayo that can transform directly from solid to gas. Okay, so, guys, I hope you don't find it fast, okay? Anyway, this is just a review. So, I am assuming that we are trying to recall these concepts only. Okay? So, I was saying, yeah, from solid directly to gas without, I repeat, without passing the liquid state. That is supposed to be the condition that you should take note of. Okay? Then we have what we call your sublimation. So for sublimation, there are just some or a few substances that can go through sublimation. Okay, like what? Siyempre, ang pinaka-common na gamit natin sa bahay. Ulit-ulit nating example ang mothballs. At saka yung mothballs na binago lang yung amoy. So, nilagay na ngayon sa CR. Ito na yung tinatawag natin ang pambansang pampabango na CR, ang albatros. Okay? So, mothballs pa rin yun. Naphthalene balls. Sorry, hindi na siya balls. Kasi binago na yung itsura niya. But then, the substance is still naphthalene. Alright? And then, of course, the opposite. Pwede rin po ba ang gas na dumiretso pabalik sa solid without passing the liquid state, meaning without condensing? Yes po. Ang tawag naman dyan ay deposition. Okay. Guys, you might find it very simple, no? Ang mga terms na to. But sometimes when they already appear as an item in the actual words, you might make a mistake in answering this question. So, please, ang clue lang natin dito lagi, ang key natin dito is the letter C in the Carl method. What is letter C in Carl method? Comprehension. Yan. So, yun lang. Make sure you understand the statement, okay, in the stem of the item so that you can really choose which of the following terms is it pertaining to. Alright? And then, of course, we move on to the properties of matter. Diba? Buti pa si matter, may properties. Kayo ba may properties pa kayo? Okay, hindi po ito yung mga lupain. Okay? Hindi kayong bahay-bahay or sasakyan. Hindi po yan ito. Alright? Ang properties po na ito ay characteristics lang naman. Okay? So, dalawa yun. Pwedeng physical, pwedeng chemical. Okay? So, ikaw, meron ka bang characteristic? Malamang meron ka. Okay, that's your personality. Gets po? Or your physical characteristics. O, ano ba? Like for me, for example, syempre, I am very tall. Okay, no? Ano pa? I have very long hair. Okay, so parang gano'n, no? So these are properties. Pag sinabing physical, okay, so yung mga nakikita mo lang. Yan. So, paano? How about chemical? Siyempre, ang chemical, ito yung hindi mo lang basta-basta nakikita. Okay? Ito, internal. Ito, may nangyayari sa loob. May nagkakaroon ng chemical reaction na tinatawag natin. Alright po. So, physical properties, ito yung mga properties na nakikita lang natin. Pwede nating i-measure. Pwede nating, ano pa ba? Gamitan ng equipment para malaman ng property na ito. Ang tawag dyan, physical. Ibig sabihin, wala kang babaguhin dun sa material. Kung ano yung chemical composition niya, kung ano yung chemical makeup niya, will stay intact. Okay? Ang tawag dyan, physical properties. Okay po? Alright, so example, we have, ayan, so take note, you can perceive by physical senses. Ano ba yung physical senses nyo? Your sight. Nakikita mo, can you see color? Yes, so color is a physical property. Ano pa? Can you see the height? Yes, alright, so it is a physical property. How about mabango? Yan, naamoy mo ba? Matamis, nalalasahan mo. Okay, physical properties lang yan. At least, of course, we don't taste chemicals in the laboratory or in the experiments. Ha? Tatandaan niyo yan. Always remind your students never to taste the chemicals in the laboratory or even actually eat anything at all during chemistry laboratory classes or experimentation. Okay. Ano pa ba? Your sense of touch. Okay. Ano ba? Pag describe mo, is it smooth? Is it rough? Is it cold? Is it hot? Yan. Okay. Yan po, mga physical senses po ang gagamitin natin. For physical properties, we have two types as well. We have the intensive and extensive. Obvious naman sa prefix pa lang, no? Pag sinabing intensive, hindi ito po baka isipin yung internal. Hindi po. Okay. Intensive properties are properties that, ano po ba? Is affected, no? Ay, is not affected by the mass of the substance. Ibig sabihin, kahit na konti lang ng material or marami ang kinuha mo para i-test in terms of this property, pareho lang din ang result. Ang tawag dyan, intensive. Ulitin ko. Alright? Intensive property is a physical property which does not change with mass. Okay? Whether, example, we have the boiling point of water. Okay. So, ayan. Boiling point, melting point. Okay. So, example ko po yung boiling point. No? So, kung sa laboratory ito, you can experiment on a test tube. You want to boil water and then measure the boiling point of water. Okay. So, maybe in a test tube, it can contain around 2 ml, 3 ml of water. And then, in a small beaker that can hold around 100 ml of water, you can put 50 ml lang. And then in another bigger beaker, which can hold 1 liter of water, you can just put maybe 500 ml of water. Right? So in all three setups, i-boil mo sila. Okay, syempre, ang different po ay yung time ng pag-boil. Pero pareho dapat po ang record nating temperature. Okay, kung 98 degrees Celsius doon sa test tube, 98 din degrees Celsius ang boiling point ng tubig na nasa small beaker mo. And even in the big beaker. Okay? So, yun po yan. Next, how about the melting point? So, syempre, pareho din po yan. Regardless, kahit nagaano karami o kakonti. So, hindi mo pa din sabihin na, ang dami kasi kaya ang tagal nag-freeze. Hindi po. It's the same freezing point. And also, melting point. Alright. Another example is the density. So if you remember, ano ba ang density? Density is mass over volume. Repeat, mass over volume. Kaya nga ang unit ng density ay grams per ml or kilograms per liter. Mga ganyan. Ano ba yung grams? Mass. Ano yung ml? Volume. Yan po. Then of course, color. Okay, color is also another intensive property. Okay, kahit nakapatak or marami na dye ang ilagay mo, it's the same color. Right po? Alright. That's intensive. Next, of course, we have extensive properties. So, for extensive properties, kabaliktaran ni intensive. Sabi natin, intensive does not depend on the amount of matter. On the other hand, extensive naman is that one which depends on the amount of matter. Okay? So, ano yung extensive? Ibig sabihin, habang dinadagdagan mo siya, no matter, nagbabago yung property. Sige nga, ano kaya ang pwede nating example dito? Yan, ang dalawang napaka-classical examples. We have your mass and the volume. Okay. So, volume. Take note, ang volume, habang dinadagdagan mo, oops, sorry po. Sorry. Ay, sorry. Okay, ang volume, habang, parang yung baso mo, di ba? Lalagyan mo ng Coke. Habang dinadagdagan mo ng Coke, ano nangyayari dun sa volume ng Coke na nasa baso mo? Dumadami. There you go. So as you add more matter more matter, the property also changes. Okay, ganun din sa mass. Okay. Alright. Next we have, so we said, yun nga po yung sa physical. Ulitin natin. So for properties of matter, we have two, physical and chemical. Under physical, we have intensive and extensive. Okay, and then next we have your chemical properties. So for chemical properties, these are only observable when the substance reacts with another substance, meaning you are causing it to change chemically in terms of its composition. However, okay, question is, how do you know? How do you know if a substance has changed in composition? So, syempre, there are things that you can observe as well. Okay, here are some of them. Number one, of course, is change in color. Okay, example, yung mangga. Diba? Pag hilaw, green. Pag nahinog, yellow. Nagkaroon ba ng chemical change? Malamang. Okay po. Next, change in odor. Ayan po. Siyempre, nung hilaw yung mangga, maasim ang amoy. Okay. Nung nahinog na, matamis din naman yung amoy. Iba po yung amoy nila. Okay. Next, paano naman yung lasa? Alright. Siyempre, yung lasa nung maasim. Nung hilaw na mangga, maasim. Nung nahinog siya, tumamis. Ano nangyari doon? Nagbago ba ng chemical composition yung substance? Yes po. Paano pag hindi mo siya nakain? Nung nahinog siya, nabulok na siya. Correct. Nagbago pa rin ba? Definitely yes. So these ones are called tawag nito? Chemical properties, no? Ng substance. Okay, hindi po lahat ng bagay possible na nag-go through ng ganun na changes. Okay po, no? Okay. So, anong mga properties po ba ang kasama sa chemical under this one? Okay. Meaning, kailangan natin silang i-expose to elements or reactions para malaman natin kung it has that property, specific property. Okay, let's try to go over some of them. Toxicity. Okay? Ito bang substance na to ay poisonous? Or not? Okay, so there's only one way to find out. Okay. Okay, good luck na lang po, no? Yan. Next, oxidation. Yung apple, for example, di ba? Ni-slice mo. Ano nangyari? After some time, nangitim. Nag-oxidize siya. Nagre-react siya with oxygen. Nag-change siya ng kulay. Next, flammability. Lahat ba ng bagay, pagka tinabi sa apoy, ay nasusunog? Hindi po. So, pero paano mo malalaman? Hindi mo naman pwedeng titigan na lang at sabihin na, itong bagay na to, flammable to, ito hindi. Hindi pwede. Siyempre tayo ngayon, we already have an idea. But let's just imagine if we were in the what's this, crudes era time, no? That you have no idea about these things and you don't even know if they can burn or not. O di syempre, marirealize mo na lang pag tinabi mo sa apoy, ay, okay, nasusunog pala siya. Parang gano'n, no? Doon sa serendipity na time ng discovery ng science. Okay? So for us now, alam na natin, pag nakita mo yung material, plastic yan, flammable yan. Papel yan, okay. Kahoy yan, okay. Ganon. So, may idea ka. Okay? Next, heat of combustion. Okay? This is a property that you can only measure or determine if you allow the substance to go through chemical reaction. Enthalpy of formation. Siyempre, obviously, formation kasi it is going through a chemical change. So what do you mean by chemical properties? Actually, these are properties that you observe together with the chemical change. Ayun na lang po, ha? Alright. Chemical stability under specific conditions. Yun nga, like, tinitingnan mo kung kaya niya bang i-withstand ang sun, wind, and rain over time na hindi siya nagra-rust, mga ganyan. Okay? Next, radioactivity. Ayan, sorry, yan. And radioactivity. But most common that we encounter, yun nga yung example ko kanina, and also yung, ano bang na-observe mo dito? Merong production of a new substance. Now, how do you know? Okay, if a new substance is produced, madalas, yun nga pa yung sinasabi ko, there are changes in color, odor, taste, evolution of heat, evolution of gas, okay? Mga ganyan. And of course, yun na, makikita mo naman kung may bagong product na na-produce. Okay, next. Kung may properties ang matter, may changes din siya ina-undergo. Okay, so itong changes na to nahati sa tatlo. We have physical, chemical, and nuclear changes. So for physical, again, physical changes, okay, pwede tayo mag-diet, pero ikaw pa rin yan. Kahit anong pagda-diet ang gawin mo, you will not become a Kardashian, okay, or sino ba ang pinaka-idol yung sexy na actor or actress, no? Okay, you can never become them no matter what you do. Okay, so you can change physically but you are still the same you. Okay, next, and chemical and nuclear. Okay, pag chemical naman, ay syempre alam na to, meron changes sa chemical composition. Nuclear, hindi sa labas, sorry, ang reaction, kundi nangyayari sa loob. Okay, mabilisan lang. Physical, ayan po, no? So, nagkakaroon ng change lang sa size, shape, and state. Ulitin ko, changes in size, state, and shape. SSS po yan. Ano yung size? Okay, pinulbos mo yung tawas. Mula sa bato, dinikdik mo siya sa pinong-pinong-pino. Ayan. So, ano tawag doon? Physical change lang. Nag-change ang size. Okay, how about shape? Ayun din. O, di ba? Change mo din yung shape. O, di sige, ito na lang. Papel. O, malapit ang February. Gusto mo mag-cut ng papel na red. O, gawin mo star o heart. O, bahala ka. Right? So, ano ginawa mo? Change mo lang yung shape niya. Pero, is the chemical composition of the paper still the same? Yes. It did not change. Okay? Next, how about, I said, size, shape, and state. Okay, how about, ano ba? Tubig. Okay na? Napaka-boring na may example ng tubig. Wait lang. Change in state, sige, ice cream. Ayun, para mas masarap. Okay, so syempre, from the can, it's solid, right? So as you expose it to room temperature, it absorbs heat and then changes from solid to what? To liquid. Ayun na. So, ano nangyari doon? Yung ice cream pa rin ba? Nag-change ba yung chemical composition niya? No, it's still the same. So, that is just a physical change. I repeat, physical changes are changes that takes place without changing the chemical composition. Ano po ang ma-observe nyo? A change in size, shape, and state. Alright? Okay. So, physical means, okay, physical changes, solution, okay, ano ba itong mga to? Okay, so first solution process, physical means, okay, then you have the solution process. One in which a substance is dissolved in another substance, okay? So, physical change lang yun. Let's say sugar, you dissolve it in water, okay? So, it's still sugar. Hindi po nag-change ang chemical composition niya. Okay, ma'am, kahit na natunaw siya, oo, yung tubig, H2O pa rin, yung sugar pa rin. Yes niyo po? Right. So, natunaw lang, na-dissolve lang, pero hindi naman siya nag-change ng chemical composition. Next, chemical changes. Okay, so for chemical changes, ito naman yung mga nag-change ng composition. Yun ang pinaka sa lahat. Nag-change ng composition. Now, ang tanong, remember what I said earlier? I said, there are some things that you should be able to know if you can observe, you should be able to observe any, if not some of them. Okay? So, hindi pwedeng lahat naman. Okay? No? So, ang chemical change kasi is a change na nag-change yung property ng matter. Hindi lang yung bakit nag-change yung property? Kasi nagbabago din yung mismong chemical formula. Ayun. O, yun. So, take note, malalaman nyo in the end na ang properties pala ng matter depends on the chemical formula. It depends on the combination of the elements that makes up the substance. Alright? So, in this case, pagka nag-change ang formula, ibig sabihin, iba na siyang substance. Iba na ang mga properties niya. Then, a chemical change has occurred. Okay? So, yung elements niya nagbago. So, may chemical composition na change. And then, may na-produce na bagong substance. Okay, ulitin ko ha. Ano yung sinabi ko kanina ng mga o-observe niya? Number 1, pwede pong evolution of heat. Ano ibig sabihin nun? Umiinit yung container. Ayan po. So, kung naalala niyo mga experiments niyo in the laboratory, let's say you have a magnesium ribbon in water. Okay? A magnesium ribbon in water. Okay. Yeah. Okay? If you dissolve magnesium ribbon in water, or no, sige, para ano to, mas, ma, ano to, mas active, um, hydrochloric acid. Yan. Okay, so for example. So, ang mangyayari nito is, pagka-drop mo pa lang ng magnesium ribbon, okay, at hawakan, kukulo siyang ganun, makikita nyo kumukulo siya. So, pag kumukulo, ano ibig sabihin? May gas, may bubbles, di ba? So, may gas na napoproduce. That is one observation you should have. Okay, may gas na napoproduce. Kasi nga may bubbles. Tandaan nyo yan, basta may bubbles, may gas. So, pag may gas na naproduce, wala ka namang ginawa, okay, pinagtabi mo lang sila or pinagmix mo lang, hindi mo naman pinapainit, ayun, chemical change yun. Next, pag hinawakan mo dun sa part na may bumubula or kumukulo siyang ganun, mainit, ibig sabihin, there is evolution of heat. Okay, so nakita niyo si teacher, si nanay, namumula na yung mukha niya. Diba? Umiinit yung mukha niya. Ibig sabihin, nagkakaroon ng chemical change. Okay pa yun kung namumula, wag lang siya maging green. Kasi kung naging green na, malala na talaga yun. Okay, so iiwasan nyo yun. Yan. Next, so sabi natin, evolution of gas, evolution of heat, okay, and there is a change in color. Without, okay, iba naman po yung pagpapakulay ng hair o yung pagpipinta, iba yon. Ibig sabihin, sa changing color, nakusa lang siya by itself. Nag-change ng kulay nung minix mo sila. And then, of course, kung naalala nyo, may precipitate na napoproduce. I repeat, precipitate. Okay? Ano yun yung, like, ang pinaka-classical example natin dito is when you mix vinegar and milk. Diba? Nagkakaroon ng curds or lumps. Okay? That is an evidence of a chemical change because precipitates were formed. And then, of course, there's also change in odor. Okay? Diba? May kakaroon ng change in odor. Yeah. Okay? Sound also, by the way. Sorry. And there is sometimes, kasama ng chemical change, doon sa reaction na yun, is the production of, diba, may heat nga. Eh, kung minsan yung pag-produce niya ng heat, maingay. Ayun, so may production of sound. At saka, kung minsan nagsaspark pa yan. So, may production of light. Ayan, okay? So, pero syempre, ang sound and light are forms of energy. Okay, I did not say na different type of matter yun. Alright po? And for sure, once you observe these things from a specific substance, definitely, if you're going to, say, test that material for its chemical composition, it will be different from the original composition. Okay ba? Alright. Okay. So, that is your chemical change. Example, iron rusting. Ito ang pinaka-common na lumalabas sa boards. Yung iron daw po. Pero ito sa Gen Ed, okay, iron nag-rust. Diba? So, napansin mo, wala namang ganun noon doon. Bakit ngayon nagkaroon na? O baka naman dinala ng mga ibon or mga ipis, mga ganun, no? Hindi po. Or mga langgam. Kaya nagkaroon ng ganun. Hindi po. Okay, it's just that your iron is reacting with oxygen in air. Or, syempre, kung na-expose siya sa ulan, sa init, ganyan. So, nagre-react siya with oxygen in air and water. So, eventually, forming the oxide of iron. Okay? Ayan, that's a ferric oxide. Alright? And then, we have burning of wood, syempre. Ayan. So, si wood na burn. Ano ang mga evidences mo dito? Number one, syempre, di ba? May apoy. Sabi ko sa inyo, may light, may heat. Mainit ba pag nag-burn ng wood? Yes. Okay. And then, ano pa? There is the evolution of gas. Siyempre, pag may smoke, di may naproproduce na gas. Correct? Okay. Ano pa? Sound. Sometimes, there's crackling of the firewood, di ba? Something like that. But anyways, yan po ang mga example. And of course, rotting of food. Not just the banana. Yan, nabubulok na, di ba? Yung prutas. Okay, ano nag-change dyan? Kulay, amoy, lasa, kung tinikman mo. Okay. Ayan. So, rotting of or spoilage of food. Ayan po ha. Biodegrading matter. Okay. So, these are all examples of chemical change taking place. Right? Nuclear naman is of course, hindi po nangyayari sa labas. Hindi nangyayari sa electrons. Saan siya nangyayari? Sa nucleus. Doon sa neutrons and protons ng atom or ng matter. In the particle level. Okay, hindi po sa labas. So, changes in the nuclear properties of matter. And, syempre, pag nagkaroon ng change dun sa nuclear properties, nag-change din yung atomic properties of the element. Right? Okay. So, pagdating sa nuclear reactions, ayan, mas maintindihan nyo yung part na to. Alright? Okay. So, kagaya nito, for example, originally, you have uranium. So, ang uranium po ay isang element na mabigat. Actually, it's one of the last elements in the periodic table. Meaning, it's a heavy material. Okay. So, pag ito ay binombard, okay, with particles, okay, like radioactive particles like alpha, the beta, and the gamma particles, okay, in a specific ratio, then these particles can break down uranium into two smaller elements. Tingnan nyo na lang yung classical example na yan, di ba? From uranium-235, naging barium, and ano yung Kr? Ito ang favorite ni Superman. Okay? Okay? Ito ang best friend ni Superman. Okay? So, we have, from 235, it became 141 and 92. Okay? Siyempre, meron po tayong mga other particles pa po kasi in the reaction. Okay? Pero, the point here is that from a single element, okay, it can break down to two other elements over time if it is bombarded with radioactive particles. Alright? Okay? And then, pag yung nag-break apart pala, yung ating particle, ang tawag dyan ay fission ang process. Pero pag nagsama-sama sila, syempre alam nyo na yan, di ba? Fuse. Pag nag-fuse, anong nangyari? Nag-fuse sila. Ano nangyari? Pag nag-fuse, nag-combine sila, nag-melt sila together. Parang ganon. Okay po. So, pag sinabing fusion, ito naman po yung nagsama-sama naman yung mga particles at saka elements. Ayan po. So, nag-combine sila to form a new particle. Alright. So, I hope we're clear with that. Okay, so before we proceed to classifying matter, so let's just have a recap. So we defined matter, and then we also spoke about the fundamental laws of matter, okay, the three laws, and then also the states of matter, the changes that matter undergoes, the properties of matter, and the phase transformation, phase changes of matter, and then we have the properties of matter, and then the changes of matter. Next, we have classifying matter. Okay, so there are so many classifications of matter actually. No, it depends on the parameter or the parameter that you would like to use, okay, to classify them. Right. So, first and foremost, syempre meron tayong mga tables for this, or diagram actually for this. So, we have matter. It can be classified as what? Mixture and a pure substance. So, ano ang tanong mo na dito? Why would you classify matter as a mixture or a pure substance? Ito lang yun. Ang tanong ay, can you separate the material? Okay? Pwede mo pa bang paghiwalayin? May hihiwalay ka bang parte ng matter na yan? If you do physical operations by physical means. Ano ang ibig sabihin ng physical means? Example, pinakuluan mo. O di kaya, in-screen mo. Diba? Yung filtration, parang gano'n, in-screen mo. Ano pa? Ano pa ba ang mga ang tag nito? Nag-centrifuge ka. O, physical means yon, gumamit ka ng centrifuge. Guys, I hope you're relating to what I'm saying, okay? I know that some of you have gone through uh, instruction na siguro I'm not sure kung na-expose kayo using these apparatuses, okay, or equipments in the laboratory. Okay, so yun, kunwari gumamit ka ng centrifuge or di kaya dinistill mo. Okay, distillation is a physical process. You don't have to, the material doesn't have to go through a chemical change. Okay, ang gagawin mo lang ay i-distill mo para paghiwalayin. So, example ng distillation na ay na product na from distillation, let's say, alcohol, di ba? Ano pa? Pabango, yung mga oils, di ba? Mga oils na ginagamit sa mga pabango natin, through distillation yan. So, those are examples. Physical lang yan. Hindi yan nag-go through doon mula sa bulaklak ng rosas, nag-go through ng chemical process. Hindi po. Iba naman po yung later na po, no, pag-usapan yung manipulation of chemicals or having chemical reactions to produce artificial flavoring. Iba naman po yan. But if you're extracting oil from, let's say, plants, okay, or flowers, ganyan, it's just physical. Okay? So, ano sinasabi ko mga operations, pwedeng boiling, okay? In-evaporate mo yung mixture, tapos nung pagkatapos mo i-evaporate, nawala ng liquid, pero may solid na naiwan sa evaporating dish. Ano ibig sabihin nun? Physical lang yon. And napaghiwalay mo yung components niya. So, ibig sabihin, hindi siya pure substance. Ano siya? Mixture. Okay. Another, example niyan ay tubig at water. I-mix mo seawater na lang. Okay, kumuha ka ng tubig doon. You want to know if seawater is a pure substance or a mixture. Alright, so you put it in an evaporating dish and then heat it to boiling until all the liquid has evaporated. What do you notice? You have a solid substance left on the evaporating dish, which we call anything that is left after something has been removed is called the residue. Okay, so ito yung naiwan. Yung iniwan or naiwan ay ang tawag dyan, residue. Okay, no? So, ano ibig sabihin nun? Hindi siya pure substance. So, seawater is not a pure substance. It is a mixture of what? Analyze mo ngayon kung ano yung naiwan doon. Malamang asin. And then, of course, your H2O na nag-evaporate na. Alright? So, that's one. So, evaporation. And then, next we have, filtration. Diba? Okay? Meron kang particles, yan, tapos nag-finilter mo, ano nangyari, may naiwan na residue ulit, di ba? Sabi natin kung ano yung naiwan, yun ang residue. Okay, ano pa ba? Decantation. Okay? Decantation, filtration, distillation. Yan mga yan. Okay? So, ang tanong, kung napaghiwalay natin using physical means, it's a mixture. Kung hindi kaya, then it's a pure substance. Alright? So, ang pure substance po ay homogeneous. Pag sinabing homogeneous, isang state lang ang nakikita mo. Okay, so kung solid siya, solid lahat. Walang solid na part tapos may liquid na part siya. No. Okay, o di kaya liquid na part yan. Okay, that's a pure substance. So for pure substance, we have elements and compounds. Now, what question would you ask now to differentiate an element from a compound? Okay, an element is made of a single type of atom. So, kung copper yan, lahat ng atoms niyan, pag in-analyze mo, copper lahat. Pare-pareho sila ng number of protons, which is the ID of your atom, of your element or your substance, if you remember. Right? Pare-pareho sila ng protons. Okay, so, same element yan. Okay? Walang halo. Ngayon, paano kung in-analyze mo yung molecule combination ng different types of elements? Ano tawag sa kanila? Compounds. Now, compounds are not physically combined elements lang. They have to be what? Chemically combined. Kaya nga, kahit na i-filter mo, i-evaporate mo, distill mo, hindi mo mapaghiwalay ang mga components ng compound. Example, H2O. I-filter mo, may maiiwan mo sa filter paper? Wala. O sasama silang lahat. O tapos, hindi ka pa nakontento. Anong ginawa mo? Yung finilter mo, yung filtrate, nilagay mo sa evaporating dish. Sabi mo, tingnan ko nga pag evaporate ko kung may maiiwan na residue. May maiiwan ba? Siyempre, kung malinis po yung evaporating dish, wala po maiiwan. Okay? Kung minsan kasi madumi yung tubig. Okay? So, rigged po ang ating experiment. Pero dapat, may maiiwan ba dapat doon? Wala po. Why? Kasi compound siya eh. Molecule po sila. So, hindi po sila pwedeng paghiwalayin. Yung hydrogen and oxygen of water cannot just be separated by physical means. Alright? So, yun po yung elements and compounds. So, example natin sa elements, in water, ano yung elements ng water? Hydrogen and oxygen. So, all hydrogen atoms have atoms that have the same number of protons. Okay, isang proton yan lahat. Next, for compounds naman is yung molecule niya, and smallest unit of a compound is called a molecule. I hope you noticed that I call a particle of the element as the atom. Okay? So, ulitin ko ang tawag mo sa particles ng element ay atom. Ang tawag mo naman sa particles ng compound ay molecules. Right? Okay, so for compounds naman, yun nga po, hindi pa rin pwedeng paghiwalayin by evaporation, by distillation, or filtration. Okay? Ayan. So, ayan na po. So, yun po yung copper natin. And then, ay, naku, ito na. Ang elements natin ay may tatlong klase. Your metals, your non-metals, and the metalloids. Alright? So, how do we differentiate them? Okay? Importante, dapat kayang-kaya natin ipag-differentiate ang mga ito. Ito po ang differences. Okay? So, ang metals natin ay lustrous, malleable. So, pag sinabing lustrous, nakakasilaw. Yan. Malleable. Pwede pong i-hammer into thin sheets. Kahit na masumasuhin mo pa yung metal, hindi po siya basta-basta nababasag. Hindi po siya nababasag. Ano nangyayari sa kanya? Napipit-pit lang. Malleable nga po siya. Okay? Ductile, on the other hand, is that it can be drawn into thin wires. Ibig sabihin, ito yung pag hinatak mo siya palayo, hinatak mo pa na hinatak, magiging napakanipis niyang wire. Kayang-kaya mag-hold on ng mga particles nila without breaking. So, they are ductile and are good conductors of heat and electricity. Of course, that's why. What do you use to cook your food? Do you use non-metals? Of course not. You use metals because metals would conduct heat quickly para maluto yung pagkain natin. Ayan, speaking of which, I hope kumain na kayo. Ayan, no? Kasi ako hindi pa. Anyways. Okay, so it can conduct heat and electricity. So that's why we use metals to conduct electricity from the outlet, for example, to our laptop. Something like that. Okay? So, napakabilis pong mag-flow ng electric current. Ayan, sa metals. So, they are called conductors. And take note, they are mostly solids at room temperatures. Okay, yan po yung ating mga metals. Bakit sinabing mostly? Dahil meron tayong mga metals na hindi po solid at room temperature. Like what? Sige nga, ano po ang metal na hindi po solid at room temperature? It also is sometimes called the quicksilver. Ayan, mercury. There you go, alright? Okay, so, next one we have the non-metals. Kung ang metals ay conductors, ang non-metals naman is the opposite. Siyempre, kaya nga non, di ba? So, they are non-conductors of electricity or heat. Therefore, we call them the insulators. Okay, saan naman natin ginagamit ang insulators? Kung minsan hindi natin kailangan na meron tayong mainit na, kunwari, oven. Ayan, di ba? Mainit yung loob ng oven. Siyempre, ayaw mo lahat ng gilid ng oven, mainit din. Mapapasok ka. So, ang ginagawa nila, they put insulators between the outer surface of your oven and the inner kiln of the oven so that you don't get burned, okay, or scalded, okay, if you touch the surface of the oven. Okay, so imagine nyo lang po kung di ba, di kailangan, bawal ang may baka hindi nag-iisip, no, masagi niya yung oven, lagot siya. Right? And it is dull. Kaya nga, ginagamit yung pang-reduce ng shine ng inyong mga mukha is powder. So, powder, non-metal yan. Okay, it's dull. Then, syempre, for non-metals, some are solids, but many of them are gases. Okay, like what? You have your fluorine, chlorine, bromine, nitrogen, oxygen. Ayan po sila. Okay? Yan. Iodine. Okay, mga gas mga yan. Okay? And then, pero may mga solids din naman na non-metals. Alright. And of course, syempre, take note. Bromine is not gas. Okay? It is a liquid non-metal. So, tandaan nyo ha, yung liquid na metal is mercury. Ang liquid naman na non-metal ay si bromine. Alright. So, third group, we have the metalloids. Okay, kung ang metals ay conductors of electricity, ang non-metals ay insulators. Ito naman si metalloid nasa gitna. Kaya kung napansin nyo, siya ay may property na semiconductor. So, your metalloids are actually very important in our electronic age. Bakit? Kasi it allowed electricity to flow through, your gadgets without overheating. Okay? Kasi, by the use of semiconductors. The semiconductors regulate the amount of energy that can flow through the material. So, hindi siya masyadong mainit. Ayan, no? Okay. They are shiny also, but they are brittle. Oh, by the way, sorry, I forgot. For non-metals, they are brittle. Okay? So, pag pinukpok mo, di ba sabi natin kanina, ang metals, pag pinukpok, hindi po siya nababasag. Anong nangyayari sa kanya? Napipit-pit siya, nayuyupi. Gets niyo po? So, kunwari may sasakyan ka, tapos nabangga ka, wag naman sana, wala. Guys, let's all pray for Sir Janus for his speedy recovery, no? I hope, let's hope and pray that he can,
Itong 2 hours na lecture niya, kaya man 1 hour lang.
recover
Bagal
quickly.
kasi siya magsalita.
Ayan, and hope na wala naman siguro, if you've heard already about the news.
Alam mo,
Anyways, he's fine, he's in the hospital and recovering. So, yeah, speaking about that, I just remembered, okay? So, kunwari bumunggo yung sasakyan mo, nakita mo may parts na nayupi, may parts na nabasag. Kaya yung nayupi, metal yun. Okay? Yung nabasag, non-metal yun. Okay? Gets po? Alright, then we have your metalloids. Sinasabi natin, they are liquid, and the metalloids are shiny, just like your metals. They are brittle, just like your non-metals. See? So, parang gitna sila talaga. May properties sila na parang metal. May properties din na parang non-metal. Okay, and then, conductors, semi lang. Parang hindi sobrang galing na conductor, pero sakto lang. For your gadgets, for your laptop. So, yan ang ginagamit natin for our electronic wares. Next, of course, you are familiar with this table, di ba? We call it the periodic table of elements. Ayan, 8:20 na po pala mga friends. No? Namalayan nyo ba yun? Okay. Mabilis ba tayo?
May mga
Ayan, no? Okay, anyways, this is just a recall, no? A review. Kaya nga po ito review. Kasi sana, I hope na alala nyo pa itong mga to. So, ito yung mga elements natin, and we call this table the periodic table. So, if you notice, we have here the legend. Okay, where all the blue squares are metals. They're, yellow, green are metalloids, and the yellow are non-metals. So, if you notice, they are positioned in the periodic table in a specific pattern. Tama po ba? Alright, ito lang po ang nawawala dito na non-metal. Okay, so lahat na po ng non-metals nandito. And then your metalloids are in between the metals and the non-metals. And then towards the left side of the periodic table, you have your metals. Alright? Okay, so let's try to recall your elements. Okay, I have here some symbols of the most common elements that you might encounter in the actual boards, no? So, I'm not saying, although, paulit-ulit naman po yung mga elements na lumalabas sa boards, however, it's still good if you have a secure background or idea about the symbols of the elements. So, speaking about the symbol is usually, but not always, okay, usually, the first letter of the name of the element. And when you write the symbol of the element, it's always capital. the first letter is always capital. If there is a second letter for the element, the symbol, sorry, of the element, then the second letter or third or fourth, if any, are never capitalized. Okay? So, with that, okay, you should be able to identify how many elements are in a specific compound. So, kunwari, dalawang magkasunod na capital letters yan. Ibig sabihin, dalawang elements yan. Eh kung dalawang magkatabi na capital letters, dalawang elements yan. Apat na letters pero dalawa lang ang capital, dalawang elements pa rin yan. Gets nyo? So kung bibilangin nyo kung ilang elements make up a compound, just count the number of capital letters in the chemical symbol. Alright. So I repeat, the first letter is always capitalized and the second letter, if any, third or fourth, are never capitalized. Next po is that, yun yung sa name. Okay, some irregular elements have their symbols based on the ancient name of the element. Okay, kaya kung mapapansin nyo, may mga iba, bakit sabi mo sodium, ang symbol niya Na? Di ba dapat SO or S kasi ang sulfur, o SO ang sodium? Hindi po. Ayan. Na because of its ancient name. So anyways, let's proceed. Please answer, even if I cannot hear you or cannot see your answers. I hope that you can recall these elements quick enough. Okay. Ayan. So H is hydrogen. Alright. He is, yes, helium. Capital B is boron. Good. Be. Syempre, kung hindi nyo siguro nakita yung Be sa baba, baka sasabihin nyo si B is beryllium. Okay? Beryllium si Be. Okay, Li is what? Lithium. Yes. Okay, F is, hindi po phosphorus yan. Fluorine. Alright. Next, neon is, sorry. Ne is neon. And Al is aluminum. Alright. O, diba? Ang dali-dali lang ng first page. Next page. Siyempre, madali pa rin to. Familiar tayo sa mga to. C is carbon. Alright. And CO is cobalt. Ca is calcium. Cu, copper. Again, bakit si copper is Cu, hindi ba Co? Okay, cobalt nga po. Okay, copper kasi cuprum. Okay. Cuprum po kasi ang ancient name ni copper. So, it is Cu. Next, we have Cl. Of course, alam nyo ang Cl, malamang. This is chlorine. Then we have Te. Te. Okay, ano kaya ang Te? Yan, kung ano mga pumapasok sa isip nyo na Te. What? Tellurium. Alright. And then, of course, Si is, ano ang Si? Hindi yan silver. Okay. Ano to? Silicon. And then Z and napakadali. From A to zinc. Sorry po. Alright. We have Z and zinc. And then K. Ayan. Wala po sa letter ang kanyang name. Ito po ang potassium. Okay. Saan nga po sa prutas po natin nakukuha ang potassium? Potassium. Okay. Saan po natin nakukuha? At ano ba ang importance ng potassium sa ating katawan? Importante nga ba yan? Bakit kailangan natin yan? Malamang kailangan natin yan. Alright, sodium. Na, sabi ko nga, because sodium, the ancient name is natrium. Kaya po siya Na, natrium. Paano si K, si potassium? Kalium. Yung kalium mo. Hindi po. Yung kalium. Kalium. Okay, si sodium naman is natrium. Natrium. Alright. And of course, Hg. Ano yan? Hug. Nag-isip ko ng hug. Okay, ito po ay mercury. Alright, so mercury from the ancient name which is what? Hydrargyrum. Then we have Ag. Of course, Ag. Argentum. Argentina. Okay, yes. It is silver. Actually, is from the word argentum. Okay, silver po ang Ag. And Au, syempre, alam natin yan. Aurum po. That is gold. Okay, aurum for AU is gold. And of course, W, ito napakalayo po. Symbol po niya ay W because of the word wolfram. Wolfram is the other name for tungsten. Alright, tungsten. SB, ito po. Naku, ano ba to? Wala, hindi natin yan makuha yan sa letters. Ano kaya ito? Ito, pareho lang po ng mga lahat na nandito. Kakaiba po talaga ang name din nito. This is what? Antimony. Pero bakit SB? Stibium. Stibium ang ancient name ni antimony. Okay. And of course, TI. Naku, bakit ba nasama itong TI dito? Okay. Hindi po yan tin. Okay, yan po kasi. Para malaman nyo, baka kasi sabihin nyo, hala, TI kasi tin yan. Hindi po. Ano po ang TI? TI. Taran! Okay. I am titanium. Okay? So, titanium is TI. So, yan lang dito sa list ang kasama sa, ano to? Ang symbol niya ay nasa first syllable ng kanyang pangalan. Kaya tandaan, potassium is calcium, sodium is natrium, mercury is hydrogen, silver is argentum, gold is aurum, tungsten is wolfram, antimony is stibium. Yan po ha. Alright, next. Ayan na. Ito na ulit. Back to normal tayo. Meron pa rin iba, pero at least, okay, Ba is barium. Very good. FeO. Common. Diba? Ferrous sulfate. Ano ba yung ferrous sulfate? Ferrous. Okay. Iron. Okay. Hindi po to iron Iron. Okay. Next, we have P is phosphorus. O, of course, oxygen. Mn is manganese. Mg is magnesium. Tb is terbium, and Pb is, yan. So, ito na nasama dito, nakakaiba ang names ay si Pb at saka si Fe. The rest, okay na. Okay, Pb is lead. Okay. What is Pb? Pb is plumbum. Plumbum. Iron, Fe is ferrum. Ferrum. Alright. Next, so elements po natin yon. Compound. So, syempre, ang compound, meron din tayo mga classification ng mga compounds, no? Yan. So, ano yung mga yon? Okay. So, yan po ang compound. Combination of two or more elements in fixed ratio, following the law of definite and multiple proportions. And then we have, syempre, pag nag-combine na magkaiba na po yung properties. Okay. Example, bakit si NaCl ang pinili? Na po, pag nadikit sa tubig, mag-e-explode. Ulitin ko, ang Na, pag nadikit sa tubig, mag-e-explode. Kaya madalas, ang sodium ay nakastore sa oil. Kasi si oil is hydrophobic. Tama po ba? Okay. So, hindi basta-basta makakapasok ang tubig kay oil. Ayan. So, ito naman si chlorine. Ano naman gamit ng chlorine? Panlinis. Disinfectant. So, imagine mo, si chlorine alone, can you drink it, eat it? No. Sodium alone, of course not. Gusto mo ba sumabog ka? Okay. So, pero bakit pag pinagsama sila, pwedeng isama sa pagkain? Yun nga. Kasi nag-change ang kanilang chemical properties at saka physical properties. Alright. Compounds that we will be discussing about, specific for this discussion are acids, bases, and salts. Okay. So, number one, we have your acids. Siyempre, ang acids, ano ba ang characteristic na acids na alam natin? Malamang, maasim. Alright. Ano pa? Slippery. Ano pa? Acids. May mga acids ba tayo sa bahay? Mayroon. O yung vinegar. Diba? Calamansi. Mga ganyan. O acids yan. Madami tayong mga acids sa bahay. Right? So, pansinin niyo po itong mga examples natin na ito of the acids. Ayan. And please take note of the characteristic of an acid. It ionizes, okay, when it is dissolved in water. It forms the hydronium ion, H3O. H3O is called the hydronium ion. Alright. So, we have examples, HCl, H2SO4, H3PO4, and HF. What do you notice? dito sa formula ng mga to? Ano napapansin niyo?
May mga hydrogen.
There is one very, very distinct characteristic. Ano yun? All of the cations of these compounds, okay, is what? Hydrogen. The hydrogen, okay, monoatomic ion. Ayan. So, how about if we use the hydronium? Will it become an acid also? Of course. Alright? Next. For bases naman, on the other, for acids, siguro dagdag ko na dito yung pH. It has a pH less than 7. Okay, so ano yung lasa nito? Yun nga po, asim. Okay, yan. Next. Bases. Kung ang acids dissociates, to form hydronium ions, ang bases naman, dissociates to form hydroxide ions. Okay, yung OH natin. So, kung papansinin nyo, kung yung acid po ay yung una ang titingnan natin sa formula ay H. Si bases naman, si OH naman ang huli. Okay, the anion of a base is usually the hydroxide ion. But do not forget the fact that all compounds or substances that contains the nitrogen are bases. Nitrogen. So like your fertilizer, for example. Diba? Ammonia. Ammonia is NH3 and it is made of what? And it has nitrogen. It is a base. Okay? Ayan. So tandaan nyo yun ha. Kung hindi lang yung may mga OH ang base, pati yung may nitrogen. Okay, next. Ayan, using indicators. Okay, how do we differentiate an acid from a base using indicators? So, syempre, itong indicator kasi ay nag-change ng kulay depende sa type of substance we have. If it's an acid, may sarili siyang kulay. Tapos, pag nilagay mo naman yung color indicator na yun sa base, pwedeng magbago yung kulay. Tawag dyan is an indicator. Okay. Example natin, pinaka-common na alam kong nagamit nating lahat is the litmus paper. We have two colors of the litmus paper. We have the red and the blue. Okay, and then we also have the phenolphthalein. The phenolphthalein is colorless. Okay. In the what's this? In the purest form, yung wala pang halo, dapat talaga colorless yan, phenolphthalein. Okay, tapos magbabago na siya ng kulay pag na-expose sa acid or sa base. Okay, sa acid pala, wala siyang change. Si phenolphthalein. Pero, sa base, magiging pink si phenolphthalein. Okay. Kaya litmus naman. Sige, naalala natin? Pag-usapan muna natin, mabilisan lang. A red litmus paper will turn what color kung base ang solution? A red litmus paper will turn blue if the solution is basic or a base. Next, red litmus paper will not change color if the solution is acidic. Okay po. So, ano ang clue natin dyan? Acid red, baso blue. Ano yung acid? Bakit ha? Acid starts with the H. Red ang kulay ni litmus paper dapat na ending. Okay. Blue to red dapat. Tapos, baso blue. Bakit baso? Base is ending in OH and the last color for the the litmus paper should be blue. Right. So, kung yung blue litmus paper hindi nagbago ng kulay, base siya. Kung yung blue naging red ng ending, acid red, di ba? Acid red. So, acid siya. Acidic yung solution. Pag yung phenolphthalein naman ang ginamit natin, colorless ang acid. Colorless si phenolphthalein pag sa acid siya nilagay. Ma'am, paano kung may kulay yung acid? Example, kaya ng rose vinegar. Nilagyan mo ng phenolphthalein. Di hindi mag-change yung kulay ni rose vinegar. Yan ang ibig natin sabihin. Okay. Pero, pag nilagay mo si phenolphthalein dun sa liquid at nagbabago yung kulay ng liquid, regardless kung naging pink or not, then it is a base. Okay, ito na po ang mga characteristics to summarize. Alright, yeah. Okay. Okay. So these are the properties of pure acids and bases vis-a-vis each other. Alright? So, ano tong mga to? Itong mga acids natin sa bahay, ang dami. Oh, yan, no? Mga fertilizer, vinegar, gastric juice, etc. Next, for bases, we have lye, magnesium hydroxide. Ay, nako, ito, yung mga may ano to? Alam mo yung maalox, yung may acid not acid reflux. Kung meron kayong hyperacidity. Ayun. So, you can use an antacid. Okay? So, itong antacid na ginagamit nila is the magnesium hydroxide. Okay. Ito na po yung pH pala. Ayan. Okay. So, for the pH, it actually indicates the concentration of the hydronium. Kaya H, hindi po yan power of, ano yung narinig ko noon na power of, basta something yan sinabi sa H, hindi po high concentration of hydronium ion or power of hydrogen. Okay? Measure with pH meter. Ayan, ano ang value po ng pH? Meron pa tayong 0 to 14 na values. Alright? So, from 0, if you increase until 7, then, before 7, sorry, if the pH is less than 7 but greater than 0, syempre, wala po tayong negative na pH value. Okay? The substance is acidic. But if you go beyond 7, then the substance is basic. At ang saktong 7 naman, it is neutral. Okay? So, kung ang pH ay 13, ano siya? Basic. Alright. Paano kung pH ay 12? Basic pa rin. pH ay 8? Basic pa rin. Alright. How about 4? Acid. Alright. 1? Acid also. Alright. Ito po, tingnan natin tong picture na to. Gusto ko pong makita nyo yung ano ng tawag nito? Na mga common substances na alam nyo na. Like, example, pure water. O, tingnan nyo si pure water. Ano ang pH niya? 7. Neutral talaga ang tubig. Si blood. Siya rin. Sa gitna ni 7 tsaka 8. O, 7.5. O, how about seawater? Oh, pasado na sa 7. Allah. Basic na yan. Okay. How about coffee? Asan yung coffee? Ayun, coffee. Oh. Tingnan nyo. Ang pH niya is 5. So, it is acidic. Vinegar, 3. Grabe, ang taas na acidity niya. Lemon juice. Okay. Ano pa? Stomach fluids. Ayan. Ako, yung mga nag-iinuman dyan at nagbabamit kinabukasan. Battery acid, guys, ingatan nyo po, huwag yung basta-basta binubuksan ng mga baterya ng sasakyan, ha? Nakakapaso po, nakakabutas ng pantalon ng mga yan. At, naku, lagot kayo. Pag yan tumama sa mata, sensitibong parte ng katawan, lagot. Okay? Ayan. So, milk. Look at milk. Milk is acidic, di ba? Almost neutral though, but it's still acidic. Okay. Ayan po. Alright. You're almost there. Neutralization reaction. O, ano kaya ito? Nga. Can you just give me a second? Okay. Pag neutralization reaction naman, this is a reaction where the product is supposed to be neutral. So, dati acidic siya, pero may dinagdag ka. So, ang naging product, neutral. Or dati kaya basic siya, so gusto mong gawing neutral, ano idadagdag mo? Tatandaan nyo, Pag nag-dilute tayo, hindi po neutralization yun. Dilution is increasing the amount of solvent. That is not neutralization. So, kung maasim yan, vinegar, at nilagyan mo na isang drum, kahit na isang patak na vinegar, nilagyan mo na isang drum na tubig, hindi mo siya ni-neutralize. Ano siya? Na-dilute lang siya. But it's still acidic. Okay po. So, ano po ang neutralization? This is a process of making either an acid or a basic solution become neutral by a reaction between an acid and a base. Tama po? Oo. So, pag nag-react an acid and base, ang naproproduce natin ay salt and water. Okay. Salt and water. So, ano yung salt? Okay, salt. Sige. Acid is H, nagsastart sa H. Yung base nag-end sa OH. So, yung una ni acid na H, saka yung ending ni base na OH, nagko-combine to form water. Ano yung, paano naman yung mga iniwan nila? Nagsasama din sila. Sila na rin. Bakit? Si water lang masaya. Di syempre mag-combine din sila. Ang tawag sa kanila, salt. Okay? Next, compound. So, sa elements pa lang tayo dun elements. Ano na ulit yung elements natin? Tatlong klase. We have metal, non-metal, metalloid. Okay po? Okay. Next, we have compounds. So, for compounds, we have, yung kanina compounds na pala, sorry po. Acid, bases, and salt. Ayun na po, ito po yung last. Sorry na ano ako. Okay, so salt po. Ito yung pangatlo natin. And syempre, pag salt, simple lang ang pang-check. How do you know? Kung hindi siya acid at hindi siya baso, then it must be a salt. Okay? So, yun. Alright. Okay. And then, ito na. So, the salt is the product of an acid and a base from what we call the neutralization process. Alright po? And then, of course, our mixtures. Okay. Guys, ito na po siguro yung last natin before we end our session for this evening, yung mixture. So, for mixture, yan. Ito na yung, hindi po siya pure substance, no? So, pwede natin pag-iwalayin by either evaporation or decantation, filtration, yan. Okay, so, nag-change po ang composition ng mixture. Hindi kagaya ng compound, hindi nag-change ang composition. Okay? Pero pag mixture yan, pwedeng pabago-bago. Kagaya ng pagtimpla nyo ng juice kung minsan, matamis, kung minsan mataba, ngayon. Pero pareho lang naman yung pinag-combine mo. Kasi nga, nag-change siya ng composition. Okay, next. Pwede pong homogeneous or heterogeneous. So, naalala nyo pa rin po ba ito? Pag sinabing homogeneous uniform, ang concentration throughout the solution. Okay. Ang homogeneous mixture ay, ang isang name niyan ay solution. And yung particles hindi po nagsisettle. Okay, yan tatandaan nyo. Ngayon, pag nagsettle po yung particles yan, hindi yan homogeneous. Hindi yan solution. Ano siya? Heterogeneous mixture. Okay, example, you have your suspensions. Ito ay mga biglang nagsettle na lang yung particles na una, nakasuspend naman. O di kaya yung colloid natin, like milk. Okay? Ayan. Next, we have colloid, medium-sized particles. Particles never settled and we observe the Tyndall effect. So, ano itong Tyndall effect? Ito yung the ability na harangin ng particles yung ilaw. Kaya, nangyayari sa ilaw, nag-deflect yung rays niya. Okay po. So, parang nagre-reflect actually yan. So, nakikita mo ulit, bumabalik siyang ganun. So, nakikita mo na aaninag mo yung light. Whereas, kung solution yan, at gumamit ka ng flashlight, dire-diretso lang yung ilaw hanggang doon sa kabila. Para siyang transparent. Okay, ito pa example. This is a solution and this is a colloid. Okay, this is homogeneous. This is ito na. So, tingnan nyo po to. So, ito po yung flashlight nyo. Dumaan din po siya sa baso. Ito, wala pong magic dyan. Kaya lang, since solution po kasi ito, wala pong nakasuspend na particles. So, nangyari, tumagos-tagos lang po. Wala kang makikita. Walang magre-reflect ng light. Not like here. Dito nakikita mo yun. Yan, ang daming particles na nakakalat. So, yung mga particles na to, sila yung nagre-reflect ng light. Babalik. Or deflect. papunta sa ibang direksyon. Ayan po. So, nakikita na aaninag natin yung ray. Right? Alright. Example is the milk. Suspension, ito yung mga gamot natin na solid siya, tapos nilalagyan ka ng tubig, shake well. Every time na inom ka, you have to shake well before drinking the meds. This usually we see sa mga bata. Ayan, they scatter light also or can be opaque. Yun lang. Kung opaque naman, light cannot pass through them. Okay, pag suspension. Kasi nga yung particles, ang lalaki. So, hindi na nakakadaan ang light. Opaque yun. Okay, light yun. Example, antibiotics. Okay, so how do we separate mixtures? Remember what I said earlier? Physical means like filtration, sedimentation, decantation, using a separatory panel, evaporation, centrifugation, use of magnets. Ayan po. Ang ilan lang para paghiwalayin ang mga components of a mixture. Ayan. Okay. So, ito po yung mga pinagtatatanong ng mga scientists to classify matter. Diba? Classification of matter pa lang po tayo. Okay. Una, tinanong, is the matter uniform throughout? If yes, then it is a pure substance. If no, then it is a mixture. Next, can it be separated by physical means? If yes, then it's a mixture. Pure substance or, pure substance or mixture. Can it be separated by physical means? O mixture yan. Kung not, then pure substance. Can it be separated by chemical means? If yes, it's a compound. If not, it's an element. Yan. Okay. So, ito na po yung ating diagram. Ayan. Is the matter uniform or throughout? No, it is heterogeneous. Yes, it is homogeneous. Next, under homo, can it be separated by physical means? If yes, then it is a mixture, homogeneous mixture. If no, then it is a pure substance. Next, if it's a pure substance, can it be separated by chemical means? If yes, then it's a compound. If no, then it's an element. There you go. Okay, that ends our discussion for this evening. Ayan na po. Diyan na po muna tayo magtapos. Dahil kung hindi, ay baka abutin na pa tayo na hanggang sa katapusan ng chemistry. Alright guys, I hope that I was able to help you with regards to this topic. Okay, I hope I was able to enlighten. Okay, and sana po naintindihan niyo po yung aking explanation. Baka kasi hindi. Baka naman nag-iingay lang naman po ako. Okay, wait lang po ha. Wait, cancel. Ayan po. So, the notes will follow. Okay, I will be sending the notes for you. I-share na lang po sa inyo. And then also the 30 item quiz. Okay? Ayan po. So, so far, kumusta naman po ang ating lecture? Naintindihan niyo naman po ba? Ayan. Pwede po ba tayong mag-comment para mamalaman ko? Nandyan pa ba kayo? Naintindihan niyo po ba? Ayan. Wala pong comment. Ayan. Yun lang naman po ang comment niyo. Ayan. I hope that I was able to enlighten you about the basics. Basics lang naman, di ba? So anyways, recall lang natin. So, light. How about light? Light is not matter. It's a form of energy po. Right. Yes po, may handouts naman po. So no worries. I will be giving you handouts. But the handouts are simplified handouts already, okay? So hindi po siya yung sobrang parang nasa textbook po kasi nasa Blank po ang screen? Oh no. Naayos po ba ito? Sorry po Hindi nag-move. Ay, wait. Kanina pa ito. Black screen po. Ala, ayan, okay na. Okay, ayan. Thank you po sa participation nyo. Ayan po, naririnig, nababasa ko na po siya. Sorry. Soft copy,
Wait,
yeah, sometime
Roms.
tonight before midnight though. Okay? I'll just have to fix it. Sometime tonight. You can just check them tomorrow. Alright. Application ng fusion and fission. Sige. Lagyan natin yan sa notes. What are the... Ha? Oo. Palakata. Matagal ka ng residue. Alam, nakakaloka naman itong mga comments niyo pala. Ayan, ang galing ko po kasi, kaya inaaral ko rin po kasi itong aking bagong gamit, no? Medyo nawindang po talaga ako. Hala, so ang dami talagang nakarelate. Kaya hindi ko na in-emphasize yung residue na yan. Nako, tantanan nyo na yung mga ganyan na mga bisyo nyo, yung gin at C2, wag na muna yung mga yan. Pero sige, napagandang example lang naman. Yeah, chromatography is O2 po. Is O2 an element? No. Oxygen is an element. O2 is although technically it's called a diatomic atom. Diatomic, ibig sabihin, hindi kasi siya, it doesn't exist as a single oxygen. It has to be a diatomic molecule. O2 talaga. Next. Purify. Okay. Ayan. Ay, gagaling naman pala ng mga taong bayan. O, diba? Nandito na ba sa major na ito ang susunod na top notcher? Malamang. Tama po, tingnan nyo nga yung mga sagot nyo. Ayun, tapos na pa ang meeting. Tapos na ba? Ano ba nangyari? Ayun po, ayun na sinasabi ko. And the meeting has ended. Sharing po has ended. Alright. I guess that's about it. Guys, we will just give you in some way yung ating handout and then announcements na din. Alright? Okay, good night. I guess that's about it. Wala naman na. So far, yun lang naman ang mga concerns nyo, yung ating saging, yes, potassium pala yung tanong ko siguro dyan sa saging na yan. Starbucks? Alright, very good. Diba? Ang gagaling niya talaga. Alright, thank you so much. I hope, yes, top notcher talaga ang mga nandito. Okay, so, thank you so much sa inyong pag-aantay kanina, no? So, anyways, happy to be here tonight, but I'm not sure if I can still continue mentorship with you guys, but rest assured that you'll be able to find somebody who can replace me. Alright? So with that, good night and enjoy the rest of the evening. Bye!